In my childhood, I had a computer, and this computer was garbage. It didn't run any game unless if it looked like this. I even remember it crashing on Microsoft Paint sometimes. But there were some stores in my area that had these shady looking discs with 100 little games on it. Most of them were random point and click games, but there were some real gems in there, like Diner Dash, which is a survival classic, Plants vs Zombies. I don't even need to talk about it. You know this one. It had this little game about creating a monopoly of chocolate, which somehow spawned 2 sequels, and this weird Space Invader chicken game that is really fun actually. Which was the point of it. These games were specifically made for fun and nothing else really. But between all of them, there was something that looked way different. Machinarium is an obscure game, but it seems that most people have some knowledge of it, some grasp of it, but nobody talks about it. Like on YouTube, which is a place that I guess there is even videos about Morty Chicken, barely anyone mentions Machinarium and their experience with it, unless if it's playthroughs. Aside from this dude who has a really unique perspective on the game, and a really old video by Neki Jeki which just talks about the music, and we will get into the music later on. Puzzles in games can be a curse and a blessing. In my opinion, it's not about the puzzles itself, it's about how it's presented. Machinarium presents its puzzles in a very unique way. Things can go wrong and they will, and you have to deal with it. And sometimes you don't even have to solve the puzzles in a correct order. One of my favorite examples is this cool guy that his blades are blocking your path, and he asks you very simple questions that you don't even have to put effort in to figure out. And after a few tries you realize that this isn't solving anything. So it's when that you put the wrong answers up that he gets angry and blows up. Aside from these puzzles, Machinarium doesn't feel like a video game. It's like a visual novel without any words. The story on paper is really mundane, but it's more about the journey that this little guy goes through that actually doesn't have a name. In the wiki they call him Joseph or Yosef, which way you want to pronounce it, but the funny thing is the IGN guy calls him Bob, which I think it's more fitting. When I first played this game, it blew my mind how interactable it is. On the menu you could annoy the birds by hovering your mouse around them, and when you hit play it starts from there and doesn't take you to a 5-minute long cutscene. Bob's goal at first is not clear, but he just goes forward and gets to odd places, like distracting this guy with flies so he could steal a barrel to use it instead of a drum pad, and playing as Space Invaders to get coins to buy batteries for this police guard that wants his toy fixed, or getting oil for this guy's wheelchair, or to a prison. These robots, despite being pieces of metal, act like humans. At least they try to. They have goals, they have their own beliefs, they have memories, like Bob remembers spending time with his girlfriend. One of the most memorable moments in this game is getting this man's instrument fixed by like scaring a cat, playing a sadistic version of tic-tac-toe. Whoever designed this, you ruined my life, okay? You ruined my life. Fuck you. Go fuck yourself. Go fucking fuck yourself, man. Why put this in your little cute point and click video game, okay? Motherfuckers like Diamond 1 in Tic-Tac, get a Every place, every character, every corner of this weird world is drawn as its own separate place, with its own identity and with its own history. These drawings added with the masterclass in audio design gives this game the ability to perfectly capture every mood that it wants to convey. It can sound warm and friendly, like you're entering your own local cafe. It can sound hopeful and beautiful while you're trying to break out of the bottom of the city. And when you get close to succeeding, it sends you even lower, more closer to your goal, but were hopeless. But it can get you out of there and give you a break with a relaxing look and sound. Then it throws you something that you never heard before. So many sounds perfectly put together to create this beautiful melody, going through so many filters, but still it contains that calming and human vibe. It could also be really eerie. When you step in somewhere that wasn't meant for you. Sometimes, despite sounding peaceful and calm, it's isolating. The music dances between organic and electronic sounds, interrupting each other and sometimes completing one another. Yet both sounds are separated, alone, and barely can interact. These robots are programmed to fill out a certain need, but they weren't designed for to be interested in them, so they seek other things. And when they are faced with a problem that they weren't designed for, they can't do anything but sit there and do nothing. So what was Bob designed for? His ability to scratch himself is really useful just for himself, and he's barely put together. To be honest with you, I can't come up with a better answer than nothing. And that's the reason that he's able to solve many of these problems. When he is faced with an obstacle, he can't rely on his own technical strength, and he has to wait and observe and get help from others and adapt, a thing that nobody in this town seems to be able to do. And at the end he saves many just like this, but this was never his goal. He just wanted his friend back. And even though that he helped many out, most of the times that he received help was by pure coincidence, and he did most of it just for the sake of helping them. And then he saves his friend and flies away. What a life to have as a piece of metal.